bike does things a 165 bike shouldn't do. It's pretty damn good. Hi, I'm Matt with Jenson USA. I'm here with Julien from Devinci, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new 2019 Devinci Spartan. Julien, like whenever I went out and rode this bike, I had a lot of fun on it, but I thought it'd be great to get a little background from you on what your design parameters were with this bike.
Yeah, well, we launched the first edition of the Spartan in 2014 season with the EWS team, and we definitely wanted to kind of improve on certain things. The first Spartan was a really good descender. I think there was some room for improvement in terms of pedaling efficiency and making a bike that's all around performs really well. So definitely that was some of the intent with this this new bike. You can notice, shock placement is different on this one. We went back to something that you'll see being more consistent with the rest of the Devinci lineup. On the Troy, for example, and the Django, they all use the same suspension layout, which gives us a bit more stiffness. And really, yeah, the aim here was to make a bike that would perform really well on all sorts of terrain and be really efficient, which was maybe something we, again, wanted to improve on the previous version.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that whenever I rode the bike yesterday. To me, I've always thought 165 millimeter travel, that is a park bike. This is not something I'd want to pedal all day, but we have been riding some really pedally, steep, pitchy trails here and at South Mountain Park in Phoenix, and I was really impressed. I knew it was going to go downhill really well and be really active, even when braking, but there was a lot of platform and it really pedaled nicely. I know you guys use the split pivot design, yep. and that's been, tell us about some of the other key features in the bike, like what you're doing at the rear end of the bike with the rear axle.
Yeah, well, first of all, split pivot, as I think just as you felt when we rode the bike, it's really active, and the main thing coming out of the split pivot is really to keep that braking force separated from the acceleration forces. So again, you get good pedaling platform that is not bobbing under load, but stays really active in the braking, and in trails that are rocky like here, it really makes a difference because your rear end sticks to the ground better, so more control, better braking efficiencies. So really that's the aim there. That 29 version uses this Super Boost rear spacing, and the reason why we went that way, unlike many people think it's for stiffness only, but we were able to achieve a good level of stiffness with the Boost 148 as well. But in order to get good tire clearance, good front ring clearance, because some of these guys will be running up to a 38 teeth ring in the front, as well as short chainstay to keep that bike nice and lively. These are all things that are fighting against each other when you're designing the frame. So by going Super Boost in the rear, we were able to get a bit more room to play. So we're having a good 2.5 with plenty of mud clearance, tire clearance, 38 tooth ring in the front, and then really short chain stays, so keep the bike feeling nice and light.
That's a great point, because I've always, you would think 165 millimeter travel 29er, this thing's probably going to feel like a truck, and it really didn't. By going to those short chain stays, I believe it's 430 millimeters or 432 millimeters, depending on the high or low setting. And by tucking that rear wheel, it has a nice balance, so I didn't feel like the back end was getting skittery, going to pass up the front. And that was a lot of fun. It's a shred-worthy bike for sure. Now, I know that we do have both the 27.5 and 29er version, and these bikes are very similar in the way that they pedal and behave. So it's like you don't have to decide this for the customer. The customer can decide which style they prefer. There are a few updates to the 29er frame since it was launched a year after. Maybe you can cover a couple of those. Yeah,
a few differences between the two models. So you'll have the Super Boost rear end that we didn't feel we needed on the 27.5 version. And then we had on that 2.9 version, being a race bike, really dedicated race bike, we had the treaded bottom bracket for easy maintenance. And then on the 27.5, you have a Di2 battery mount underneath the bash plate, but it's not on the 29. Excellent. So,
well, we always try to classify these bikes and say, who is this bike designed for? Obviously, Devinci had in mind the Enduro World Cup racer, a really super fast, capable bike. And I had originally thought, man, this would be the kind of bike that I would take to the bike park. This would be a rad bike for somebody who still prefers that bigger wheel size. The 29er fits in nicely. But I think I learned on this trip that it's something that if big bikes are your style, this is something you can pedal all day. It's still pretty lightweight, and I think kind of defies the class that I was expecting it to land in. So thanks for hanging out with us and getting us out on some rad bikes in a rad place.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
Remember, all these bikes that we ship come in a bike box to get you out on the trail ready to ride in 3 minutes or less. If you have more questions, want to talk about a Devinci bike, reach out to one of our gear advisors. And whether you're here or in your backyard, keep pedaling.